Hey everyone, welcome back to DC MotorWerks. Today I've got my barnfind SL600, my latest decision. Whether that's good or bad, we will find out in this video. But excited to show you this one because this is what we would consider the peak R129 SL. So let's go ahead and take a deep dive and see what I did. So I ran across this car on my favorite Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago and started talking to the guy. He actually did not want to sell it, but he was in a financial situation where he really needed to. But we spent months talking back and forth. I went and spent a couple hours looking at this car. I think it was May or so of last year. But we couldn't come to an agreement because he didn't want to sell it. He actually bought this car new in 1997. And loved every bit of it. You know, he was all about, he knew everything about it, that it had the special roof, which we'll get into in a few minutes. But he actually ended up selling it later on to a lawyer here locally in the Georgia area that drove it back and forth from St. Simon's Island over here to Athens, which is about a couple hours from here. But he did that very regularly and has accumulated 180,000 miles on this SL600. Which I know it doesn't look like a whole lot now, but is it actually in pretty good condition. But unfortunately, a few months ago, he did pass away, and thankfully I was able to get in touch with his brother, which then acquired the car. And he, thankfully for me, decided that this was not the car for him. And kind of in his honor, in his memory, we wanted to get this car going. So I purchased it from his brother, and that is my goal exactly, is to bring this car back to its former glory where I can enjoy it. So you may be asking yourselves, what makes this car special other than the kind of the story behind how I got it? And what makes this special is this is a late model, what we call the SL1 package, which is the sport package SL600. So this is the top of the model range with the V12 engine. And it does have the sport appearance bumpers with the monoblock AMG wheels. And the icing on the cake on this one is right here. This is the option code 415 or panoramic roof, which came out in the later generations of the R129. And these roofs are very highly sought after. A lot of times they will sell for more than an entire car. And it does have a great look, you can see, compared to some of the other ones, which you may see in another video, or we might put a picture up in here. But it has the more curved profile than the standard hardtop. And then if you have a look on the inside, even though this one does have the screens pulled forward currently, that you get that nice kind of open experience even with the hardtop in place, which is a great thing to have on a convertible, especially a smaller coupe that kind of gives you a more closed feeling that makes it feel very open and nice. But on the outside here, you can see there is nice shiny paint under there, but unfortunately, like I said, it sat for a good while and has accumulated some growth and some other things, but really for 180,000 miles, the body is in great shape. The paint should hopefully clean up. We hope to get that on video cleaning this up, but for the purpose of this video, I wanted to show you exactly how I got it. Of course, we have our nice DC MotorWerks tag on all of our vehicles here that are courtesy of Celebrity Machines. My good friend Travis Bell put these together for us, and we greatly appreciate that. Here you can see I've got some stuff apart right now because, of course, this car does need some work after 180,000 miles. And having sat for, I don't know, I guess it's been about a couple years. I'd have to look. But fun fact is that this one has dealer service history up until the last couple thousand miles, which is super nice to see because these do get very expensive to maintain. But when looking at the history of this car, you can see it has gotten pretty much everything it needed. I even got 2 factory keys, which one I don't have with me now. But the factory switchblade keys, which are not available anymore from Mercedes-Benz. So it is nice to have 2 of those. And really you can see that the interior is in great shape. Got this one little spot on the outer bolster, which will hopefully stitch back together and keep it going for a little while longer. One neat little tidbit about these mid-range, I guess I'll call them, SL600s, is that they have the two-tone interior. So one of the main benefits of a 600 in the R129 is the extended amount of leather all over the car. So you get all of the stitching on the leather here on your door panels. You get the leather wrapped dash. You also get your leather wrapped airbag cover. And you also get the extended wood trim. So a standard 500 car would just have like vinyl plastic right here, but you get the extended wood trim here in the 600. So you get the nicer leather with the two-tone and perforated, which you can get the perforations in a regular 500, but I think the two-tone really breaks up the color profile in here. And I particularly like the 97, 98 steering wheels more than the 99 to 2002. So it is a great spec. You can see it's in great shape here. We've got one little crack here on the wood of the steering wheel, which for, what year is this? 98. So 26 years old and 180,000 miles. It does look great. And being able to look above you at a nice open glass is pretty exciting. So this is what makes it so special here, is the full glass roof. You can see I need to do a little work on the shades here. One is retracting, but the other one not so much. So we'll have to do something with that there, but for now we'll protect it and keep them closed. Nothing beats the startup of a V12. Have a listen to this. And this does have the hydraulic suspension, so you can see it adjust. And if I hit the up button here, you'll see it start to raise here in a moment. It'll do the rear, then the front. So if you look closely here, you'll see it'll do it in stages, in the rear and then the front, then back to the rear until it reaches its highest setting. And they call that they call it like a camel effect, because that's how camels stand up. And that helps to prevent the headlights from going up too high. You can see here the grille is a little mangled, so we'll have to get that, as well as this fabulous front bumper here. On low cars like this, people tend to pull onto the curb stops and so forth and tear them up, but we've got our nice hood insulation pad falling down, some of the kind of normal stuff. But you can see the nice massive 6-liter V12 engine, which makes about 390 horsepower. Not a huge powerhouse, but it is super smooth and has tons of torque. But you can see here I've got some stuff apart. Normally this is jam-packed all the way up to the radiator. But if you listen closely, you might hear a noise that doesn't sound like it should be there. And that is because the water pump the bearings in that is starting to fail and making some noise, as well as what we call the fan bearing. And also the radiator is leaking there in the bottom corner. So I've got this all apart, and I've got parts ordered so that we can get that fixed up and I can start driving this. But again, you can see it's all in great shape. It runs super smooth. If you couldn't hear it, you wouldn't even know it was running. It doesn't shake or do anything funny. And we have actually taken this down the road. I have one thing to fix with the hydraulic suspension. It's what we call the body acceleration sensor. There are 4 of them, one for each corner, and the one that's right under this plastic cover is setting a fault code, which makes the suspension go into its stiffest setting, and it rides kind of rough, and it's a little unpleasant. Go ahead and close that here. It does have the bi-xenon lights. These are big money on the 129 because people like to upgrade to them. The early US cars had the funny headlight door and it looked terrible and they would crack and age. It looks bad, and these actually have decent light output compared to the early stuff. So watch it go down here. It settles into a nice lowered look. It's got some nice Michelin tires on it. I mean, you can see beneath the dirt and grime that it was a very loved car. This one does have the later Bose sound system. So that's what makes this car so attractive, is in like 96 and up, you get the easier diagnostics because of OBD2 standards. And You get the .6, which is the 5-speed automatic transmission with overdrive, compared to the early one, which is a little more finicky. You also get the update to the windows here that have the drop down. So it is a little quieter because they tuck into the hard top here. You get the updated suspension and wheels. You know, it's just kind of a sweet spot of the car, and this is one of the best specs because you get the V12 with the sport package and the pano roof. But let's go ahead and show you one of the best parts of this, as I have a ton of documentation for it as well. So we've got our original Mercedes pouch here. Here we've got our radio card. I love these old roadside wagons, the 124 roadside wagons. Hopefully one day I'll find a nice white wagon and we can do that to that car as well. So you have the guide to the radio, you have your owner's manual. I've got a bunch of service records in here. And this is kind of like your quick tips guide. Kind of tells you how to use your climate control, how to use the key, how your buttons work. This is just, like they call it, the quick guide to the car, quick tips. Lots of neat stuff here. There's a lot neat in these early cars. They still had multi-contour seats. They have air bladders in the seat that you can adjust your lumbar and so forth. 3-position memory, kind of the standard for stuff back then. Your original 1998 warranty guide, a service booklet. Let's check that out. Usually these don't get filled out. I got the VIN in there. This tells you your services and so forth. Let's see. This car did get most of its service done at Mercedes-Benz of Athens, even up till the last like 2,000 miles or so. Since it's been sitting, essentially, it got dealer service up until then. That's pretty common that only the first couple get filled out. People kind of forget about this and leave it alone after that. But this is all your option codes. We have 744, that is the paint code. And the all-important code, which is 415, that is for the pano roof. And also, I forget which one is for the sport package, but we'll see here, which is the original window sticker for this car. So it's a 1998, like I said, 390 horsepower. The adaptive damping with level control, just kind of goes through all the car, but important stuff here, the optional equipment. The multi-contour seats were an option, as well as the panoramic roof. And this is the SL1 Sport Package I told you about, which was a $5,000 option. So, it brought you to a total price of $137,000 in 1997, essentially, as this is a 1998 model. So if we convert that $137,045 into today's dollars, it's a 1.8 to 1 dollar ratio. So if we take 137.45 times $1.89, this car would have cost you today $260,000. You'll notice that is a trend with 90s Mercedes models, is that relative to today's money, they are substantially more expensive, or worse than substantially more expensive. But you can tell that in how well built they are and what kind of cars they were making back then. So, super exciting to have all that information after 180,000 miles and 26 years. So we'll go ahead and tuck that back away. So it's been a few weeks. I'm back here with my R129 SL600 here. And since it's such a nice day, it's about 72 degrees here in northern Georgia. But you can see, as we saw in the earlier part of this video, that this car has sat under a tree and it's looking a little worse for wear. So we're gonna run down to the car wash here and give it a little cleanup, so I'm a little more motivated to work on it. Went ahead and topped off the coolant, or water, because the radiator is leaking. So I've got a bunch of parts inside that we might show you here in a minute that give us an idea of what all I have to do to this to kind of get it road ready. But we got that topped off. Let's go ahead and get our car wash bucket and we'll go for a ride. Just check out the state of it now and we'll see how it turns out, do a little before and after. But we've got our nice car wash bucket here because we're gonna go down to the, like they call the quarter wash or whichever that has the pressure washers, but never like to use their brushes, so we like to bring our own bucket there with us. Of course, the trunk's full of all kind of extra parts because we've got, like we've talked about, I've got the fan and stuff off of it and have lots of extra parts. So let's see if we can make this fit and let's go for a ride. Always enjoy that V12 startup sound. Apologize for some possible fan noise here because it does get quite hot in here. That is kind of the pitfall of the highly desirable panoramic roof, is that all that much glass makes it pretty toasty in here when it sits outside. It's nice. We've got no warning lights on the dash. I think I talked about where I replaced that body acceleration sensor for the adaptive suspension. So we're back to riding smooth. The tires are a little flat spotted from sitting, but overall it feels pretty good. Nice cold AC. Center vent is not working, so we will have to address that. Smell a little bit of an oil leak, which we knew as the cause to the alternator dying on this car. We'll pick one. Let's go smack in the middle. We'll start getting parts together and getting this car back on the road and back to its former glory. So look forward to some more videos there. And if you do want to see more on this, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any videos. And we hope you all enjoyed this one, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.